Right, okay, it's 6 o'clock, and welcome to our webinar this evening. So we're continuing with our employed to empowered theme. And if you've caught up with the last few, or if not, we'll send you the link to our YouTube channel and you can check them out. But these continue, and we've been talking to agents about the success that they're having and how they've got their success. And one of the continuing themes that they talk about is the support and the behind the scenes support that the agents get from being part of the Property Experts Network. And this evening we're going to talk you through how we support, and we're going to do. So if we bring up the agenda of what today is going to be all about. So first thing I would say, and this is quite a bold statement, okay, but a bold statement that hopefully in the next 30 minutes you'll start to see that we use as our guide, our vision, our aspiration, rather than a brag or any form of conceit about our statement. But we honestly believe we offer the best training and support in self-employed estate agency in the UK right here today. And that's our belief, and that belief fuels and powers us through to always be in reinventing the wheel, looking at how we can invent and support our agents. So today we're going to talk to the people that really make it happen in our business, and that is we'll introduce you to Kelly, who is our training director, and Lucy Kite, who is our business success coach in the business. Both work really closely across all elements of support, and these are the people that make it happen for our agents and turn what is learning and education that we give them into their actual success. We've all worked together, the three of us have all worked together and known each other for an awful long time. So to bring again us together as a team and to offer that support to the agency is incredible. So we're going to talk to you about the coaching support that we offer. We're going to talk to you about the agent success blueprint, what we again almost consider our guarantee for success when you become a self-employed estate agent. Is we've got it all documented in a blueprint and a Bible, an A to Z, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to talk to you about that. And Kelly's going to talk about 3 to 5 years work that we've invested into making sure that is the very best way that you can launch your business. We're going to talk about how we onboard our agents and really help them feel welcome into our network, into our family. We're going to talk about how we follow it up after 6 months. We don't just leave you and abandon you. Literally, the support continues right way through your relationship with us. And some of our agents have been with us 5.5 years since we started, and they still get the same level of support that they get on day one. Okay, so without further ado, let's meet the superstars of tonight's show. Kelly, there you go. Introduction. So you actually covered and did the employed to empowered with Alex Broadley last week, which is amazing. So this tonight is all about you. So introduce yourself, tell us what it is you do.
Well, thank you, Jim, and hi, everybody. It's really nice to see so many joining. And following on the superstar, I like that. I'm going to hold you to that in the future, Jim. Thank you very much. So yeah, okay, a little bit about me. Having been in the industry for 15 years now, and having worked, like Jim mentioned, that we have worked together in the past, but I've worked with different models and different areas within the property industry, and worked my way through different roles. So, you know, I've been part of doing it myself. I've been on the road as self-employed. I've been employed. I've been part of the high street model, the sort of, I suppose, the middle ground model, what we would call it now. And you know, I've learned so much in that sort of space of time. And I would say that, you know, part of that has given me that experience. It's given me the sort of hard to learn way as well, sort of learned from mistakes, learned from other people's mistakes, lack of training, lack of support. And it kind of led me into, sort of organically led me into certain roles, which then got me to, you know, the training side of things, which had a pleasure of being sort of mentored by you, Jim. So, learning those different techniques and different ways to actually help and support people, whilst reflecting back on what I could have known 15 years ago, and think, gosh, we need to do a lot more for our people. We really need to do a lot more in terms of just the foundations and the training, the coaching, and then that mentorship as well. And it doesn't really matter to me, what people's experiences are, as long as they've got the right skills and attributes. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know all of our experts, but in terms of getting them to sort of come out of their shell and really enhance their skills and do what they do for their clients. Because the biggest thing that I've always been passionate about over the last 15 years is the sort of the customer's journey, the customer's experience, and what they go through during the most emotional and most sort of sometimes horrific times of their lives. So if we're going to be responsible for dealing with the biggest investments of their lives, then we've got to be on our game, and we've got to do as much as we can. So I think getting to the point of being a trainer and now actually heading up the department and making sure that those skills are in place for people to learn and to be coached through things just means that the customer themselves are going to get the best experience possible. And that then folds into, our own client, which is our expert, and they have to have the best customer journey as well. So putting those two things together, having learned about all of my experiences and gone through what we have, just means that, I'm really, really passionate about seeing those results. And, I'm passionate about these topics. So you might have to rein me in, but I think it is, it's just that 15 years worth of getting to where I am now, which means that then we can actually give that back to our experts, but it's never ending. I love to evolve it and love to bring people in like Lucy as well to work with people like we have in our team. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's I could sit and listen to you all day because the passion that you have brought to and still bring every day to helping our agents is infectious, without a shadow of a doubt. So you just brought into Lucy there. Lucy's our newest member of our team, having been with us. There she's. Look, meet Lucy Kite. Lucy's joined us, even though I've known Lucy for 10 years. Lucy only became available as a free transfer agent recently, and therefore we snapped her up and joined her as part of our team. So, Lucy, talk to us and tell us about why you are here right now.
Thank you, Jim, and hi everybody. It's lovely to see many people on the call. So just a little bit about me. So over 9 years now, and actually approaching a decade, which is mind-blowing in my opinion. I think the industry is something that I literally fell into. I never had any intention of joining a state agency. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I could learn from it. And I certainly didn't know what I could become and how I could help people. So making a difference is something that I'm really passionate about. And for those of you on the call who do know me, hopefully you can agree with that. And for any of those who, are looking to join us, again, the passion that we have in the property experts is a massive thing. And the reason why I joined, and it was quite surreal meeting people. Of course, I've worked with Jim and Kelly before, but meeting people where passion oozed out of them and joining a place where everybody's so happy is a really hard thing to come by. And I've felt it in the whole time that I've been here, and especially having that backed up by people that I've known for so long. We're all about changing people's lives, and Kelly hit the nail on the head that people go through such emotional, difficult times. Yes, it can be happy, but there's so many different people that can influence that. And if we can get it right from our end, that plays a humongous part in the whole journey. So I love working with people, as it says on the screen. But essentially, the curious questions that people ask, putting things into action, seeing people set themselves goals, watching their confidence grow. I love that. I love when someone comes to me and says, Luce, I know how to do it, or I can do it. And in turn, that's how their business will grow. So yeah, hopefully my skills and experience can hopefully help more of you.
Yeah, listen, that's Lucy. As with Kelly, you understate yourselves in the humility that we all go about our jobs, and that's what we do with property experts. And it's right back at the beginning when I said, we believe right here, right now, that we offer the best training support, and that's not something that we stick a label in. That's because we've got people like you, and we've got people like Kelly, and all the other support. We've got over 20 people in our support function for our agents, apart from the two dedicated success coaches and trainers, which are you two. So when we talk about the coaching and the actual support we offer, shall we get into some nitty gritties then? What does it actually mean? Yeah. So it's all right saying, we offer the best, but what does it mean? What does it look like? I mean, we've got so many things, Kelly, that you've predominantly built and that we work on every day, from communication. We've got the network and the communication that agents can have within the network. So they've got their peer-to-peer group that they can ask questions on, and it's wonderful. On a Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, somebody puts a technical or a question into the group, and there's always somebody that's there to answer. So the infrastructure in the whole business is about network and support. But talk to us about the dedicated coaching that an agent who joins us will get throughout their lifetime with us.
Wow, I mean, you're saying it rightly there, Jim, because where we started maybe 3 or 4 years ago, if you remember our first meeting, and we sort of went, right, well, first of all, we need an induction, we need a training program, and how does that look? And we went through all of the stages, and the inspiration coming between that room of people, from your experience, and then we have Sean as well. The ideas just went kind of haywire, didn't they? So we had to sort of rein that into, well, first of all, we need a training platform and we need a training program, which basically gives everybody the basics, the foundations, the tools, which we'll come on to in a minute, which actually ultimately turned into our agent success blueprint.
Yeah.
But then it was a case of, well, lots of training exists out there. There's lots of other trainers and people could go off and do this themselves. But actually, the coaching side of things was so important, because once somebody's completed some training, then they're on their own. And anyone that's been in this industry before and not worked in sort of in the high street, and it's more on the road, the word isolation is really, really prominent, isn't it? And that's the bit for me where I thought, well, we've got to get rid of that, and we've got to have a really nice routine schedule where people feel that that's okay, because every week I'm going to have this conversation and I can wait until that call, or I can always contact ad hoc, not a problem. So we had that structure put in place, and from the agent success blueprint, where you've done all of your learning in the training aspect, then you go into what is called our 8-week coaching program, which is basically all about your business launch. It's about your compliance, making sure that you're all set up for business properly. But it runs into those first key activities of generating your first business. Like, that's the scariest part. Like, where is this business going to come from? So we focus on the 5 key activities, which is to generate market appraisals. We need to be out there. We need to be on social media. We need to be networking, canvassing, door knocking, letter campaigning, just ticking every single box. And the coaching side of it for me is always about accountability. So if we're coming to the table and saying, as a one-to-one coaching call, it's not just a friendly catch up, how are you feeling? That's important, but actually it's, did you get shit done? To the point where that's now actually one of our core values, which I absolutely love. That is my favorite core value, because every call ended with, well, now it's up to you. You've got to go and get shit done. It's very, very simple. So the coaching is accountability. And, over those 8 sort of probably longer weeks based on the business launch, it's all about those key activities and making sure that you're holding yourself accountable, because you're self-employed. We don't want you to feel isolated. We don't want you to worry. You follow the process, follow the blueprint, you will get success. So that's the coaching side of it.
And I think, Kelly, just jumping in on that, I think that's really important to, when we talk about coaching and training, people have triggers. And if you're from a corporate estate agency environment, or you're in a corporate environment, training generally means being dragged into a room, lectured at for an hour or half an hour or even longer in the worst case scenario, and you go away feeling talked down to, patronized, and largely waste your time. Our training isn't like that. We really fundamentally understand our role in the partnership of our agent's success. And our role is education, information, motivation, accountability. It really is everything that you need. And we wrap that up and we actually call it coaching. Yeah. But it is everything. You know, sometimes you've come back to us and lots of testimonies where that isolation of people have just hit that wall or they've hit a down day. Because freedom to run your own business is fantastic. You know, walking your dogs, having a Costa coffee, and not starting work till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's all wonderful till you've done it for 6 weeks and realise you've got no money in the bank. Then you've got a problem. Our coaching stops those things happening by still allowing them to have their autonomy, but gives that structure and, like you say, that weekly check-in. And you know, the feedback that we get from, you know, our experts about those touch points that we do is phenomenal. So, you know, when we talk about coaching, it's not a definitive one size fits all. It is literally everything from a shoulder to cry on, to a motivator, to accountability buddy, to a retraining. I mean, my God, how many times sometimes do you have to educate people on the same thing until the penny drops? But we don't give up. We offer that support. And so, you know, in our business model, when we talk about coaching, that's what we talk. And then you bring in the passion. And Lucy will talk in a little while about the new style of coaching that we're going to give non-estate agency experienced people through an academy program, which is even enhanced level of coaching with one-to-ones with Lucy during their start. So I just thought I'd just bring that in, Kelly. So we base all this around the success blueprint. And I said right at the head of this, if you remember, that we almost guarantee that if somebody comes, they spend 6 days with us learning, they engage with us on their coaching, and they implement our success blueprint, we almost guarantee, like a money back guarantee, that if they do all that, that they will succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the blueprint then for me is the training aspect, and it's that sort of that layer that if you always go back to, if you're feeling a little bit lost, if you're feeling, or I need to sort of reset my focus, go back to the Agent Success Blueprint. It's there as a document. It's been documented because we knew that from the training, people needed to sort of go, oh gosh, that was a lot of information to take in just a week, and that's fine. That's a sentiment that we get, but hence the coaching, hence the reflection and the way that we can get them back to training. So yeah, the blueprint was it. Well, the induction was based around the induction, and that is, you know, I always explain it as a sort of a layered up approach, which was, you know, if you're going to experience what the client's journey is, and that's basically what the client should be feeling. If you're the expert and they're the seller, and you're going to be taking them through a journey, well, then you're going to need to know what those steps are. You're going to need to know what those platforms and the tools that we provide you and how to utilize them at the right time and optimize them. You know, sort of where the client feels where that journey is going along. So we take it along, literally is a step-by-step process from generating market appraisals into winning the listings, into presenting the property incredibly well. So making sure the pricing, presentation, the marketing strategy is correct. And then it's getting the property sold, which means that we've go into the negotiation skills, the open house strategies, everything end to end. So you've had that blueprint, and it just means that you've got, as it says, a clear roadmap of how that's going to work. So if you, again, saying what you mentioned there, Jim, it's there for you as a process, and if you follow it, you will get results. We know that that's been tried and tested, and it is that really nice back to reference format where you go, right, okay, I'm at this stage in my client journey. I need to go back to that training, find it in the Knowledge Hub. I know where it is. It's in the blueprint, and I can then reflect back on that just to recap before I reach out and get extra training, which is there on hand, no matter what. So the blueprint itself, making sure that we do that, but we're getting great feedback from it, but we're always evolving it. And
Kelly,
Jim knows I'm probably a
you
pain in the ass
mentioned.
because I keep doing it
I
over
know,
and
I
over
know.
again.
You told me to. You know, I don't want anybody to think I'm rude on this. Kelly and I know each other. She said
Yeah.
before, she went, just jump in when you got something to say, because otherwise I won't shut up. We're all the same. We're all so passionate about everything. One of the things about the blueprint that we've built is it's been built as a digital blueprint as well as a physical blueprint. And the digital blueprint is linked back to what we've got in our sort of video archive of, I don't know, it must be 200-300 hours of video recording of every training that we've ever done, and there's links back to every single thing at any time of the day or night, 24/7, all digitally stored. So again, you're never ever on your own. You're never without finding an answer. And coming into 2026, what we're in the process of doing, which we've got a rough version now, but we're actually having an AI bot built that you can actually now go into our knowledge library and actually, like ChatGPT and AI, you can actually ask a very specific question. It'll go off and find the answer for you. You don't even have to go and look for it yourself. So again, we're always looking at developing and building out how best we can educate, inform, support our experts, and it's all around this foundation of this agent success blueprint. Lucy, I'm going to bring you back in now then, because one of the things that we found over the last 2 or 3 years is that we've built this inordinate amount of information, everything anybody could ever need, but trying to impart that on somebody who's going from employed to self-employed, launching a business, may not have directly been an estate agent themselves, but may be an expert in property and marketing. To actually download that in 6 days has been a lot. So we've developed something called the Academy. So just talk us through now what your vision is of how new experts will be onboarded through the induction, and then tell us a little bit about what you're building the Academy to look like in 2026.
Thank you, Jim. I think the onboarding process is a major part of any business, and you have to get it right from the get-go. We understand that agents will feel excited but also overwhelmed, especially if they're not due to join for another 4 weeks or so. But what we want to do, we want to make it simple. We want to ensure it's really fun, but also having clear communication and building that engagement amongst other people who are joining. So from the moment they receive their welcome email, I'm straight on the phone. Used to be Kelly, the role has been passed over. And that's all about welcoming them to the induction, to the team, explaining what to get my words out, what to expect from now up until the start of induction, up until sign off, and then following on beyond that. Because like Kelly says, it's non-stop. The support and coaching is always available, as well as any additional training that's needed. In terms of what happens during that, we want to ensure that all agents are prepared. Compliance, as we know, for self-employed estate agents is a key part of your business launch. So we have our Queen Michelle, for those of you who already know her, but our compliance Queen Michelle, she's always on hand encouraging our agents to book in with her prior to actually starting the induction and throughout, so she can tick off with you, she can guide you through what you need to do so you are ready to launch your business and go through induction and solely focus on induction rather than having those worries in the background. Invites are sent out. We have a WhatsApp group. The biggest thing that I think I've learned over the years is when you get essentially dumped into a training room with not knowing anyone, you spend a day or two actually getting to know them. Whereas we encourage our agents to speak to one another, we encourage welcome videos, and it starts that relationship building from the get-go, which is important for us, and we've seen it. A few of my guys that I was speaking to last week, 3 of them, very fairly new, have all met up just so they can work together, they can share their business ideas, and they can look at how they can take their area by storm as a 3 rather than 1. And
Yeah.
that's what happens amongst the people within this network. They work together. They also get a taster pack, our welcome pack, which is a taster of what to expect during the induction week. And again, that is a hard copy. I know Jim says we have a digital one. Some people prefer a hard copy. So we have that available as well for them to pick up during and after. But everything will link back to that agent success blueprint. And we want to create an environment where people feel safe. And it's quite a strong word to use, but people have reasons why they join and why they want to set up their own business, and it always comes back to the why. Being self-employed, you have to be motivated, and our agents are, but there's a reason behind each one of them doing so. And just going back to Jim and the academy, what we have actually launched now is a training program across a period of 6 weeks, which will cater for essentially anyone, whether that's people who are completely new to a estate agency, because the terminology, as we know, is a lot in a estate agency, so they have to get to grips with that. We can guide them through weekly coaching sessions, the implementer days, which Jim will touch on, but also it caters for people who may be transitioning from an employed role or a part-time role into something completely brand new. And it allows to take some of that intensity out of the 6-day course and spread that across that 6-week period. So we've already had one agent who's successful. He's already got his first listing, promoting very well on social media and within his local community. And again, we've already got many more signed up for January, which I am very excited about.
Wonderful. I mean, it really is. And again, we'll develop on that. One of the things that we all believe in massively is about being fit for the future and always keeping on pace. And even if you've been, and in this series, you'll see on YouTube an interview with Mark Moffat, who's an 11-year experienced estate agent, who says quite clearly that in the 6 days, he learned more in that 6 days than he'd learned more in his previous 6 years. So we're always trying to reinvent, we're always trying to make sure we're on top of the latest techniques. And we honestly believe that, you don't have to have necessarily had the traditional estate agency experience to be a great property expert. There's some fundamental skills like marketing, customer interaction, negotiation that are so paramount to people's success. And those are the things that we focus on. And those are the type of things that we help the academy people really, really, really become expertise in. And then obviously, we've alluded all the way through this, is that right from the day that you say, I want to do this, I want to launch my business, and all the onboarding that Lucy's talked about, which is a fraction of the really what happens, but it gives you a taster. All of them, what Kelly's talked about. Then what we do is we're committed to your success. And 6 months after everybody's joined, we get everybody back together. But this time we get everybody physically together to interact in a room called an implementer day. And Kelly, literally in a couple of minutes, tell us what the implementer day means for you and why you've introduced this into the journey for a new agent.
Yeah, absolutely. The key thing really, implementer, is exactly what it says on the tin. You will be implementing the things that you learn during that day without question. And the reason we do it every 6 months, obviously we have a cohort of agents that come through, those that are starting off from scratch, those that are bringing in another business from another business. It all works in the relation that it's going to either help you launch your business with those 5 key activities to gain listings as soon as possible, or it's going to help you reset and go again. Because, we all go through the waves. I had that experience where it went quiet and it's like, what am I doing wrong? I've done everything that I've always done. But that was the problem. I'm doing everything that I've always done. I wasn't trying anything new. So when it was an idea that put into place, it is the whole group that is invited. Most of the time it's the most recent agents that come through, but we get together in a room and we're talking about those 5 key activities. We get guest speakers, we get updates about the tools that we've got, so it's not just the same thing repeated every 6 months. I'd hate that. But it is about those 5 key activities. So and people go away and then they're actually added to an implementer success call, which lasts for 8 weeks. So that's actually with me. I'm holding on to that one just for now, Lucy. You can have it in maybe 6 months or something. But for me, it's just making sure that, because I get to touch base with all the agents and know where the needs are, and I can learn what else we can do to help them. So those 8 weeks are really intense group calls where they are setting out their 7-day plan in line with the overall goal, which is usually increasing listings, increasing their business. And we do 7 days, right? What are you going to do? How are you going to achieve it? We follow a growth model. So, setting out what's realistic, and really discussing all the obstacles, really sharing those obstacles, because that can be the pain points that everyone's going through. So we deal with those obstacles, we figure out what it is that we need to actually do, and then we set timelines, and then just a little reminder about what will actually happen if you actually do what you said you're going to do. So you've got 7 days, come back to the table, and then hopefully you'll have achieved that. So the results that we got from that on the first one was phenomenal. We had feedback from experts that had never been in the industry before. We talked about Eleanor Sinclair, who was fantastic, implemented everything, really hit the ground running. And she loved the accountability and just making sure she was doing everything. And then we had, like you said, experienced agents like Mark come back in and go, right, let me just refresh, reset. And, I want to increase what I've done. So you always need these days. And that's why we've set it into those 6 monthly cohorts. And also, one of the biggest things is they get together and they share ideas, and they inspire us to do more and to look into what other innovations that are out there and ready to try and do the research to get those platforms and tools. So it's just an ongoing thing, isn't it? And it's really hard to do it in a few minutes.
I know, and there again, look. So we also do agent success days, which is where again we get all of our agents together every quarter, and again it follows a very similar. It's about education. We bring in guest speakers, and my goodness, we've had people like Josh Fegan from Australia. We've had Tom Panos in a room with us twice now from Australia, one of the most renowned world-class estate agency coaches came, and we had him for our agent success. So we're continually investing from the very best of the speakers that we can and bringing them into an agent success days. The other thing that we've done is just moving it forward a slide for me, Sean, if you would, is that we've introduced a mentor program. And what's happened over the last 2 or 3 years is very successful agents have now found their feet over 2 or 3 years, and a great consistency, great credibility, great business success. And they're now in a stage where they want to give back to people that are like they were 3 years ago. So we've introduced a mentor program, and our top mentor is, who you can see on screen, is Graham Cross, based in the Midlands. And he invests his time free of charge to all our agents, where you can go and spend a day with him. And he'll even come out to you and do some of the implementation of the blueprint, whether it's knocking on doors of people who've got the properties on the market, or delivering leaflets, or visiting somebody and presenting your market appraisal, winning a listing. Very, very interactive and hands-on. So to have that sort of accessibility again to real life practical implementation is world beating. It literally, it can change the course of your business launch. So that's really it. We're out of time now. So just wrapping up the whole thing, right at the outset of the beginning, I made a statement which hopefully now you can see was born out of almost a passion, and humbled us to believe that we're always learning ourselves and always wanting to get better for our agents. But we honestly believe that what we offer our experts as a team of people, with Kelly and Lucy particularly on this call, in terms of the training, the coaching, education, learning, that guidance, but also a backroom support team of over 20 people, whether it be IT, marketing support, compliance support. The whole support infrastructure is something we're very, very, very proud of within the Property Expert. So I'd just like to first of all say part of the support team as well on this call, and hasn't participated, but it's Shauna who puts together these webinars for us. Shauna is our marketing manager and helps our agents with all the marketing elements of their business. So thank you very much. Lucy and Kelly, thank you very much for your time. I bid you all good night, and hope you've enjoyed the time with us.
Brilliant, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you.